Give Caleb something, Julie. Give the black characters something, Julie. What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing the long-awaited Legacies ranking. If you watched my other TVD rankings, my Vampire Diaries and Originals rankings, you already know how I feel about Legacies. Legacies, I feel like, could have been so much more than it was. How do you come off of the Originals, the best of the 3 shows, and come out with Legacies? Like, what? I don't know. Julie just could have done better with the show overall. I feel like after season 1, Legacies, to me, it was just okay. And then like season 2 happened and I was like, all right. And then season 3 came and I was like, okay, I feel like they lost the plot. Like, I feel like they don't know where to go. And then season 4 was kind of saved by Hope's humanity little arc. You know, that kind of saved the last season. But overall, like, for me, it goes Originals, Vampire Diaries, Legacies. I don't know, Julie she just put her all into writing the Originals that she just had no juice left for Legacies. Before we get into the video, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, I have an entire rankings playlist, so many other shows that I've ranked, the other Vampire Diaries and the Originals rankings. I'll also leave those 2 separately down below so you guys can check that out later. All right, coming in at the bottom is Alaric. Yeah, again, if you've seen my other rankings on the Vampire Diaries, you already know how I feel about Alaric. The most boring character, probably one of the most boring characters in general of the whole entire Vampire Diaries franchise. He just, I don't know how he made it past Vampire Diaries, Originals to Legacies. Like, he lasted the longest. I mean, I know like other characters were still alive while Legacies was going on, i.e. Matt and like Jeremy, like all of the irrelevant people just somehow, you know, survived. They killed off Klaus, they killed off Elijah. You know, we're not gonna get into that, but yeah, Alaric, I feel like just, he never did it for me. Irrelevant in Vampire Diaries, and he was the headmaster in Legacies of the school. And how you get fired from your own job? Like, number 1, you were bad at your job. Number 2, you were a boring character in general. And number 3, how do you survive all 3 series? So y'all should expect Alaric to be at the bottom of this list. I never liked his character, never will like his character, and he deserved to be killed off. Coming up next is Ethan. Ethan was introduced, I think, in the 2nd season or 3rd season. I got excited seeing new characters be introduced, but that's one thing I really didn't like about Legacies, is how they introduced their new characters. Ethan, I feel like, was again a waste of space. Like, I don't know, he didn't do anything for me. I think his like powers, like they said he was like a puck wedgie. I don't remember the name, but like he was something ridiculous. Y'all gave him powers and he barely did anything. I mean, I feel like they started giving everybody in the show powers. Not everybody needed powers. I know it's a supernatural show, but like humans like are a dime a dozen. Like, so Ethan, you're also at the bottom. Coming up next is Jed. Okay, Jed, he had me going. In this 1st season, you know, he was the mean werewolf. He kind of really became like a background character. I feel like Julie didn't know what to do with him, but I mean, I liked his ending in the show. You know, he got his happily ever after. I know he never really enjoyed being a werewolf, so I like that. I guess he got a good ending in the show and he was brought back as a human and he got to live with his boo. So Jed got a good ending in the show. Like in season 2 and 3, Julie didn't know what to do with his character. Season 1, he had the mean guy role and they didn't really do much after that with him. Like, but I feel like in the show they didn't know like how to make him be significant, so that's why they just made him a background character. But hey, at least he got a happily ever after. I know that's not really something a lot of characters written by Julie get. Congrats to you, Jed. Coming up next is Cleo. Now Cleo, that's how you introduce a new character. Cleo, I loved her. I loved her powers. She was a muse, basically like a witch, but I liked her powers. Like she basically had like premonitions and like future and stuff. I like that they put a spin on her being a witch. You know, there were a lot of witches in the show already, so I like that they made her like a different type of witch. Her intro was really cool too, because they didn't really know how to trust her. They didn't really know if they could trust her in the beginning, but then She was like a huge asset to them. That's how you bring in background characters, Julie. Thank you. Her relationship with Caleb was cute. Like, I mean, like, I kind of saw it coming, but like the little slow burn. So that's actually one relationship that I like Julie did good in Legacies. I feel like every other relationship in the show, whether it was Josie and her girlfriends or Hope, even Hope and Landon. I'm gonna talk about that later in the video, but Hope and Landon, but Cleo and Caleb, I feel like they matched and they had good chemistry. So Cleo, I liked your character. Coming up next is Landon. His journey was so weird in the show. Like, he was first introduced, nobody knew how he was a phoenix, how he became supernatural, but then they found out that he was Malevor's son. And then they said that his mom fell in the like liquid thing, and then she ended up pregnant, and then that's how he became a phoenix. But then his powers as a phoenix were like, what? Tell me what his powers were. Exactly, you don't know. I had no idea what his powers were supposed to be as a phoenix. All I know is that like when he died, he came back reborn, like came back, I guess, in a new shell. He was really himself, but like he just came back decomposed. And even when they tried to use his phoenix thing for Raphael, they realized he didn't have the energy anymore. So he was like, they could have kept him a human. They brought him back and killed him, then brought him back as someone else, as an imposter, then killed him again, and then brought him back, and then he actually stayed dead. But he really wasn't dead because he was an anchor, so they could really kind of see him, and he was like the gateway to the other life. Basically kind of what they did with Bonnie in Vampire Diaries, but hers was much more brutal. They gave Landon like a pleasant like variation of an anchor. Bonnie was literally in pain. She was literally tortured. Landon, he gets to just stand at the pier and wait for people to cross over. Like, double standard. They just hated Bonnie. Y'all know how I feel about that. But yeah, I just feel like Landon like was like a roller coaster. He didn't even feel like a main character to me because he would be out for an extended period of time in the show because he was dead or was in another prison world. That's another thing I didn't really like about the show. They did these prison world things so many times. Like, it worked in the Vampire Diaries, but in this show I just feel like they just did it too much. It was overdone. There we go. But yeah, Landon and Hope, like, they were more cute when they were in the originals, when she first met him in the originals, and they were like, you know, having their little dance in the square. That was, I feel like they had more chemistry than they did in this show. It was always, I gotta save Landon, or I need to bring Landon back to life. They never really, I don't know, like in Legacies, I feel like their relationship was so discombobulated. Like they were never really on the same page for an extended period of time. It was always Hope trying to bring him back, him dying, and like him coming back, but him not being the same. So they break up and then realize they're not good for each other. Like, Julie just, she don't know how to write relationships either. All right, coming up next is Caleb. Now, Caleb in the beginning in the show, I liked him throughout, actually. That's like, I can actually finally say I like the character throughout Legacies. Like, wow. But in the beginning, he was kind of like the bad boy, you know, he played like the vampire that was a little reckless, kind of a bad influence for MG in the beginning of the series, you know, wasn't really that good at helping MG control his powers. But I mean, I still liked Caleb. I loved him, and I feel like he could have gotten a bigger role in the show than he did. I mean, I'm just glad they didn't just kill him off randomly. I'm glad he actually got to stay in the show, and they actually gave him a, you know, storyline with Leo. Their relationship was cute. Caleb was a good person. He never really made me feel like, oh, he's questionable, or like, like, I don't know. I don't remember if he got a backstory or not in the show. If he did, let me know. But if he didn't, like, why didn't they give him one? Like, I feel like everybody had a backstory. So let me know in the comments. I don't know why I can't remember if he got one or not, but that's my thing. Like, I feel like Julie just didn't give him much. Landon got 10 times more storyline than Caleb did, and Landon's was just being repeated over and over and over again. Do something with Caleb. Give Caleb something, Julie. Give the black characters something, Julie. Speaking of black characters, coming up next is MG. In the beginning, I like that they introduced that he was like a vampire, but was like kind of like a Stefan, like a Ripper. Didn't really do good with human blood. That was really I like that. I didn't expect them to do that with MG in the first season. But then in season 2, they try to like cast him aside with the whole like ascendant drama that he had when he was trying to like keep the monsters from coming. But then Hope and them was like, oh no, we need to save Landon. But like, he was just trying to keep the school safe. And everybody like casted him aside because he did the unspeakable and stood against Hope, like, oh, nobody can ever do that. So they casted him aside and he left the school for a while, which, you know what, I don't blame him. Like, that's not the right environment for you. It was toxic at the time. But I didn't like how like Julie tried to like make them like, I don't know, they tried to like cast him aside for a while, and I kind of got worried for his character. I was like, okay, is she trying to like write him off? And another thing I didn't like is how they made him like chase Lizzie. Like, they made him chase Lizzie so many times in the show. Like, I don't know, I wasn't a fan of that storyline, and they didn't have no chemistry either. Speaking of Lizzie, she's up next. I will say it was opposite for her. In the beginning of the series, in like the first couple seasons, I did not like Lizzie's character. I just thought she was just very annoying, and I know that's what she was supposed to be. You know, Josie's the more responsible twin. She's the more like hot-headed, crazy, you know, off the handles twin. And I like that, but she was just a little much for me. I didn't enjoy her character at all till like season 3, when she actually started to be more useful. I wanted them to actually merge. Am I the only one who actually wanted to see Josie and Lizzie merge? Like, I wanted them to merge and Josie to win. But like, that would have been like a good way to develop Josie's character, even though like she developed anyway. I still wanted to see, I actually wanted Julie to go through with the merge, not cop out like they did. You know how like it went through in the Vampire Diaries? Why couldn't she make it go through here? Like, that would have been really cool to do. I feel like Lizzie's character would not be missed that much if they did the merge. I mean, I certainly wouldn't miss her, but I mean, she would still be a part of her sister. So I don't know, I would have really loved to see that actually happen, see Josie break down and the whole thing. But I get they wanted to keep her in the show and whatever, but you know, if Julie can do what she wants. Am I alone on that? Let me know. All right, coming up next is somebody out there gonna be like, whoa. Coming up next is Raphael. I loved Raph's character. I loved him, and I hated how they got rid of him. Oh my god. What do we gotta do, Julie? What do we gotta do as a community to get your respect? They barely utilized his character. Like, he was, you know, introduced as a werewolf and whatever, and him and Landon were brothers. I liked that. And he had a little cute thing with Hope. I liked that. Their little thing. Hope and Raph had more chemistry in their little chunk of time than Hope and Landon had in the entire show. But like, they made him like quote unquote die, and then like Hope created like a fake place for him to actually like stay with his parents. What was so hard about writing his character? Like, why? I don't really get why they did that to him. He was so underutilized, but I loved his character. Raph was just done wrong to me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people in the fandom don't really talk about him, and as like, I understand, because they just literally tossed him aside like after the first couple seasons. All right, coming up next is Hope. Now, Hope, like, her journey started like at the end of the originals, so like that's a whole thing leading into the Legacies. Hope went through it, y'all. I'm sorry. Julie had her going through everything in the show. Like, from season 1, she's dealing with, obviously, you know, losing her parents and stuff, and then she meets Landon, and I was fine. But after that, it was just, she just went through the worst things in the show. I will say though, I'm glad Julie took her time with Hope, didn't rush the whole, you know, her turning into all 3 of her parts, like werewolf, vampire. I'm glad that Julie took her time with that and didn't rush it. Like, she became a vampire, I think, like at the end of season 3. I just feel like my favorite part of Hope's entire journey was just seeing her with her humanity off. Like, when they turned Hope's humanity off, I was tuned in. That's when I was the most like excited to see Hope on the show. Like, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed seeing her cast spells, use her werewolf side, but seeing her with no humanity, like, that was the highlight for Hope in the show for me. Like, that saved season 4. Would not have been as enjoyable had they not made that like most of what the season was. Yeah, I know how I feel about main characters. They're always like, I'm always like either unsatisfied or feel like they were like, you know, not as utilized. But I can't really say anything bad about Hope. I just really wished, like, I know the ending of season 4, like, they tried to make, you know, her and Klaus have their final goodbye, which was cute and nice. It was kind of rushed, but I mean, I can't complain. All right, and coming in at the top spot is Josie. Even though she didn't last the entire show, Yeah, I know she left. You know, you guys can, you know, say the reasons why she left. I've heard a lot of reasons. Many people have different reasons and came to different conclusions as to why she left the show. In the beginning, like, she was my favorite twin right off the bat. I was like, okay, I like her. She's more like cool-headed. She wasn't, you know, as annoying as Lizzie was. But just throughout the show, I just feel like I enjoyed her doing magic more than I did seeing Lizzie doing magic. Josie's powers, I feel like she was just always the more advanced twin, which is why I wanted them to go through with the merge and see her rightfully win. I also liked her being Dark Josie. Like, I feel like I didn't expect that to happen to her character, but I like that they did that. And they brought it back in season 4 when, you know, Hope turned humanity off and she had to, you know, kind of like try to help her turn it back on. I like that that was still a part of her character. The only thing about Josie, I will say that I was kind of like, is her relationships. Hers with Penelope at first was okay. You know, everybody wanted her with Hope. I see it. I see the vision. I see the vision. I'm not gonna lie. Her and Hope, that would have been, you know, if Julie went through with that, like the fans wanted, I could have seen that like doing good. Like everyone wanted that. But in the end, she ended up with, I think her name was Finch. They, I feel like, did not have that much chemistry. Is it just me? I feel like Josie and Finch did not have that much chemistry, y'all. I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see the vision. But I mean, they had to break apart when Josie left the school, aka left the show, so I was okay with that. Josie, she was my favorite witch. Out of all the witches in the show, she was my favorite, and I love seeing her do magic. I like seeing her doing magic even a little bit more than Hope at times. Like, when they announced that she was leaving the show, y'all, I was devastated. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little devastated seeing that she was leaving the show, but nonetheless, her journey was good. All right, guys, that was ranking Legacies characters. Leave me in the comments down below who your favorite was, who your least favorite was, how you felt about the finale, because I feel like it was just so rushed. They were canceled, but I mean, it was time for Julie to give it up. Like, you just can't write anymore. Like, you put your all into the original. So, but yeah, even though I feel like this spinoff wasn't as good as it could have been, I mean, it's still a spinoff. It's still gonna go down in history as one of the Vampire Diaries spinoffs, so I can't complain, but it's still at the bottom for me. Originals, Vampire Diaries, Legacies, period. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you want to see more videos like this, I have an entire playlist, and if you want to see my Vampire Diaries and Originals rankings, I'll also leave those two in the description, and you guys can check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.